So I'm starting our class with orders of operation, guys. So we already learned orders of operation before, so the only thing that we have to focus right now is on parentheses and braces and exponents. So we'll see if we could remember how we do order operations. So our goal is to solve real world problems or events by writing and simplifying numerical expressions using order operation. If you notice, I did not use the word PEMDAS. Alright? So, but before we go ahead, I want you to answer this question. What is the most precious material possession you have that you cannot give up? Write it down. I'll give you a minute. Alright, who could share? What is the most precious material you possess that you cannot even give up, no matter what? Whose hand? Hold on, let me see. Whose hand is up? I hope my laptop will not. Selena, go ahead.
Maybe it's like some old coins that my grandfather gave me. Like yeah, it's like old, so and because like he's not here, like I don't give it up.
Yes.
Quinn, go ahead.
My laptop. It has all my information on it.
Oh boy. All right. Anyone else would like to share? My house, gold necklace, my family, of course.
Family is not material.
I know, right? The state test. You will not give up the state test?
I'd give it up.
I think the most precious material.
Yeah, me too. I'll give it up.
I'd give it up too.
For the opposite, is gonna get my books. They are my favorite. So thank you guys for sharing, and I know there are some of you. I'll read the rest of your responses. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So here, which one doesn't belong? Pick one and be ready to share, because I did not put like a share box. All right, so I'll give you another. Let me see. How do you do that? Okay. 1 minute. 6 seconds. All right, I'll start from the bottom one. Ayman, which one doesn't belong and why?
3 square unit minus 2.
Why do you think it is?
Because someone that has a square unit next to a number.
What is that square unit you call? What is the term we use for that?
The power of 2, 3 to the power of 2.
Oh, a power. We call it power. Alana, which one doesn't belong?
I think that 3 plus 4 doesn't belong because if we had an equation to solve it, you need to use order of operations. But for 3 plus 4, you don't.
So it's just one step. Selena, you want to share, or your hands to forget?
Yeah, I would say 3 plus 4 doesn't belong because, like you said, today we're learning about like the parentheses and stuff, and that 3 plus 4 doesn't have any, and it's like just a one-step equation.
One step, right? Okay, Briar, go ahead.
I think 1 plus 2 and parentheses 1 plus 3 doesn't belong because all the others is equal to 7, and this one equals 12.
Are you sure that's equals to 12? Oh, this one is equals to 12?
Yeah.
Double check if it is equal to 12. But thank you for sharing. Omar.
I think that 3 plus 4 doesn't belong because it's the only one that has that's just like a one step with no parentheses or no exponent or anything. So I think that doesn't belong.
Right. So Vicky, I saw you were raising hand. Thank you, Omar. Wanna share?
3 exponent 2 minus 2 doesn't belong because that one's the only one with the exponent.
Okay, very good observation, guys. But Briar, did you figure out if this is equivalent to 12? This is, if you do order operation, this is 1 plus 3 times 2 plus 1. So it looks like all of them really are equal to each other. It's just like it represented in different ways. So you guys are good when you say 3 plus 4 doesn't belong because it's only one step. And yep, everything else also is the same. Go ahead.
If it's like 1 plus 2 and then the parentheses 1 plus 3. So 3 plus 1, so don't you have to do 3 plus 1 equals 4 times 1 plus 2 equals 3 and 4 times 3 equals 12.
Where are you? 1 plus 2? This one?
No. Yeah, because you said you'd have to do the parentheses first, and so that's 4. That would equal 4.
So this is going to be 4 times 2. It should be 4 times 2 plus 1.
Oh, okay.
That's why it will not be 12. It's only like 9. So 4 times 2 plus 1. And this one also, because this is not equivalent to 7. So that's 7. That is 2 plus 5. That is 9 minus 2. So this is the only one that's not equivalent. It looks like it's equivalent to 7, but it's not. Alright? So that's a good review too for order operations. Let's go to the next one. So we're working on, we're still on Sabbath. So if you look at the problems that is being given, right? It has parentheses, it has braces, exponents. So we remember order operations. So number 1, evaluate the parentheses and braces from inside and out. Then evaluate or simplify powers or exponents. Then multiply or divide from left to right. Then add and subtract from left to right. So this is where your PEMDAS, as you usually say, comes in. It's just your secret for order of operations. Let's see what SAPA says.
How do you evaluate expressions? Let's take a look. Some expressions look difficult because they include parentheses and brackets. You can think of brackets as outside parentheses. Evaluate the expression 1/2 times 4 to the second power minus the quantity of 2 plus the quantity of 3 6/10 divided by 9/10. Why do you think brackets are used as outside parentheses?
So why do you think the bracket was used? This bracket was used as outside parentheses, not parentheses and another parenthesis. Why do you think is that, Selena?
Because it tells us that we have to do the parentheses first, and then like use the answer that to add to.
All right, Alana, would you like to add something?
Because the brackets is kind of like letting you add on to parentheses, because if it was just a separate parentheses, it would have solved them as 2 separate things.
Alright, so it separates things or it groups things. And the way it groups, it's in multiplication. Let's see what it says.
The brackets help you determine what each set of parentheses is enclosing. Use the order of operations to help you evaluate the expression.
Start with the inside parentheses first, then do the rest of the calculations within the brackets.
What do you do first? Evaluate inside the parentheses. 3 6/10 divided by 9/10 equals 4. What is next?
So what's next?
Evaluate inside the bracket.
So we're going to evaluate the inside, okay? So I just forgot to pause it quick.
2 plus 4 equals 6.
What's next? One step at a time.
1/2 times 4 to the power of 2.
We cannot do that yet. What is, according to order of operation, what you should do next based on what is remained here. It's one thing at a time. Omar, you put 2 things, so only one thing at a time. Alana?
You have to evaluate the powers.
The power, Simon, is that correct?
Yeah.
Alright, so let's evaluate.
Evaluate the power. 4 to the second power equals 16. What is next in the order of operations?
What's next to the order of operation? Right here, right? Selena, what is it?
You multiply or divide from left to right. So you do 1/2 times 6.
Times, not
16.
16.
Select your answer.
So we'll multiply or divide. That's what you said.
Multiply or divide from left to right. 1/2 times 16 equals 8. What is the last step?
So we know that the last step here in the yellow one is add or subtract from left to right. Since we subtract, so we subtract 8 and 6.
Add or subtract from left to right. 8 minus 6 equals 2. You evaluated the expression using the order of operations.
So we do step by step, from inside to outside to the order of operation of exponent. Then you multiply and divide, and you subtract. So most of us make a mistake by skipping the steps, and our answers will be incorrect even though we have the same problem. So you know that you're going to be working on a number 2. With this one, we're gonna be working on evaluating it. Let's see, you could just watch the example. The first page will be the example, and then the second page will be how you work it. That's example number 2 at the time. But my question is, what is the function of the bracket again in evaluating expression? What is that? Here, if you look over here, what does that mean that there's a bracket over here? What does a bracket do? Why can't we just use parentheses and another parentheses? Anybody? Lana?
It kind of like combines the equation and the parentheses with something that's not parentheses, because they're showing 6 minus 3/4 in the parentheses, and it's combining it. So after that, you have to divide it by 2, because if you didn't do that, it would be solved in a different way. You might get it.
All right, let's look at the example. Thank you, Lana. Let's look at the example.
Evaluate the numerical expression 2 and 5/10 squared plus the quantity 6 minus 3/4 divided by 2 times 2 to the 5th power.
Can anybody tell me what's the first step we should do? Omar?
6 minus 3/4.
6 minus 3/4. And then when we're done with 6 minus 3/4, what do? We get it divided by 2. Then when it's done with that, we evaluate the 2 to the power of 5. Then we multiply. And then we also evaluate them and we add. Let's see how it's done. So here, the way it's done in the problem, so we're gonna do 6 minus 3/4 first. So that's 6 minus 3/4. We could change the denominator to make it the same, and then it becomes 5 and 1/4. And then we divide it by 2. That gives you 2 and 5's 8. And then 2 to the power of 5. 2.5 to the power of 2 is 6.25. And then we could also evaluate 2 to the power of 5. That becomes, what is 2 to the power of 5? Here it didn't say so. So it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And then you add that to 6.25. And that gonna be 84. Multiply it together, and add it to 625. So you get 90.24. If you're gonna ask me if we could use a calculator for this, yes, you can, just to eliminate the multiplication. But a process, you cannot use calculator, okay? That you're just gonna give me 90.25. You should still do the steps in our next activity. So example number 2 is usually an extra example. Let's look at example number 2. I'm not going back to our slides, but this is example number 3. Okay, let's listen to this. But in our presentation. Example number 3 is this. What makes the parentheses important in operating equivalent expressions? Why do you think it is important? Let's see how it says.
Here is an expression. How can you insert grouping symbols in the expression so it has a value of 10? Remember to be precise. When you use math symbols correctly, you are being precise.
Before I would proceed to play this, where do you think that parentheses should go so that the value will be 10 at the end? I want you to think about it. Just keep it to yourself. Like, where do you think the parentheses should go? Should it go 40 minus 7? Or negative 7 plus 33? Or 33 times 3/4? Where do you think will it be so that it's gonna be 10? I give you like 30 seconds to think.
To begin, try placing parentheses around 40 minus 7 and evaluate the expression. First, evaluate inside the parentheses. 40 minus 7 equals 33. Then multiply the other 33 by 3/4, which is 24 and 3/4. Now add. This expression has a value of 57 and 3/4, which does not equal 10, so you need to place the grouping symbols in another location.
So if you got your parentheses in the first two terms, then you guys are incorrect. So let's see who think they should be in the second one or the third one. Let's see what it happens.
Now try placing parentheses around 7 plus 33 and evaluate the expression. First, evaluate inside the parentheses. 7 plus 33 equals 40. Then multiply the 40 by 3/4, which equals 30, and subtract. The difference is 10.
So, did you get that right? Who got that right? Just remember, order operation still works. Omar, you were saying something?
Oh, nothing. I wasn't saying anything.
Okay, so remember the parentheses also plays an important role, but even a problem there's no parentheses, you're not supposed to put parentheses. Alright? So but if they ask you which terms or expressions or groups you're gonna put the parentheses, then you have to place it in order for you to find the target answer. Alright?
Inserting grouping symbols around 7 plus 33 gives the numerical expression a value of 10. That's the value we wanted.
So why do you think the parenthesis is important? What does it tell us? What does the parenthesis tell us this time? Anybody? What does the parenthesis tells you in this problem, Alana? How come others are not sharing? Go ahead, Alana.
The parentheses tell you that you have to do 7 plus 33 first before you do anything else.
Okay.
And like if you didn't have the parentheses in any of them, it'd be a completely different answer.
Correct. That is true. Sarif, you would like to share? Why do you think the parenthesis is important in finding a particular answer? And how you group them? Sarif?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't hear.
So why do you think the parenthesis is important in this problem?
It's important because you can group up certain things that you don't understand and do them later, or
Alright, you could group them to simplify the answer, because if you just do without the parentheses, that's 40 minus 7 plus 33 times 3/4, and you're gonna multiply 33 and 3/4 first before you do something else. So sometimes if they tell you which one you put the parentheses in, it's gonna change the answer. So therefore, when you solve a problem later on, that where the parentheses is, like what we have here in our first example, the parentheses was placed on here, it's gonna give you a different value. So the parentheses matters when you do order of operation. All right. It's just telling you, hey, that's equals to 10 if you do that. Or if you do, even though that's parentheses and you do this part, then you will still get the wrong answer. All right. So you follow where the parentheses tells you that what is inside the parentheses is what you're gonna do first. With that said, you guys are going to go to Google Classroom, check your Sabbath assignment. You usually do exercise 1, 2, 3, and I added the quiz portion for that. And we could continue that later on when we come back. But for now, just work on that one, okay? And your homework is in Google Classroom, so later it's going to be posted. So for now, let's go on in Google Classroom and check your work in there. Questions? Silence means nothing, right? So okay, I'll take it like that. Go ahead, guys. Go to your Google Classroom.